When you're talking about building a complete physique, the 6 basic lifts come to mind. That is the squat, deadlift, row, pull up or pull down, bench press, and military press. If you master these, then you can look at their thousands of variations, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to take basic lifts and tweak them. So small changes in your grip, small changes in angle, weight distribution, stance, that type of thing are going to be the icing on the cake. So you've built the shoulders, now you want the cap shoulders, or perhaps you want that glute ham tie-in. These are all things that can be done with these awesome variations. So let's get into the workout. Let's get into these exercises. The first exercise is an inverted row. I've set the bar to about hip height. And this variation works the biceps. So make sure you're using an underhand grip. Make sure you wrap your thumbs around the bar. And with your body position, try to scoot back away from the bar just a tad. So you want to be sure that your lower arm is perpendicular to the ground when you're at mid-rep, and then you're pulling the bar to the lower part of your rib cage. This is going to help really focus all of your effort on the biceps. Biceps are a mirror muscle, so as you're pulling yourself up, glance to the left or to the right and look at your biceps. Really see them working. Next variation of the inverted row is going to use an overhand grip. This is going to hit your middle lats, your mid back, so your rhomboids, and a little bit of your traps. So here I'm using a false grip. So overhand grip, thumbs are not wrapped around the bar. This is going to help take those biceps out of the equation and focus all of the effort to the back. Body position, again, scoot away just a little bit so that you're pulling that bar to the lower part of your chest. This is going to be really key here for targeting the back. So if you want to build beautiful lats, this is a great exercise for this. Be sure you keep your body in plank position. Don't let your hips drop. The third variation is going to target the rear delts. So with this, I'm wrapping my thumbs around the bar using an overhand grip. Hands are slightly wider than shoulder width, but not as wide as the other inverted row. And you'll see body position, scoot down to where you're pulling the bar to your upper chest. The higher you can pull, the higher up on the body you're going to be able to train. With your elbows, with the other inverted row variations, you're going to keep your elbows close to your body. With this variation, it's important you bring your elbows out and pull that bar to your upper chest, even to your collarbones if you can. Be sure you're pulling with your delts and not your traps. And you'll know the difference because you'll feel yourself kind of shrug first before you pull. Let's move on to some leg exercises. So this is all 3 are squat variations. The first one is a sumo squat. So feet wider than shoulder width, toes out, knees out. I love the Smith machine for some of these variations because you're able to focus on targeting muscle groups rather than focusing on stabilizing. So here, really working the glutes and the hamstrings. So see if you can get that upper leg to parallel and try to push your knees out on the way up. So don't let your knees cave. Whatever direction your toes are pointing, make sure your knees follow that same direction. Elbows underneath the bar, and you're stabilizing yourself with, you're keeping everything nice and tight through your upper body, keeping your back nice and flat. And you can make it more difficult by adding a pause rep if you'd like. The next variation is a hack squat. This is awesome if your gym does not have a ton of equipment. You can actually make a hack squat right here. So I've got a 45-pound plate, and I'm gonna try to get that plate about arm's distance away from the bar. And you may have to adjust it slightly, but what you want is you want your back flat, perpendicular to the ground, and maybe even a little bit in front. And you want your legs in front of you. So feet together, knees together. This variation is awesome for the quads. So if you want, when you push on the way up, push your weight through your toes just a little bit. And this is going to help really focus on those quads. If you go below parallel, you're going to also hit the glutes. So this exercise does double duty, and it's a great variation if you don't have a hack squat machine. The bar sits across the traps. Elbows are pulled in nice and tight. rib cage nice and tight. So again, you don't have to go heavy with this exercise. Really get a feel for that range of motion and go nice and slow, because this is going to help you with mind-muscle connection. You don't have to worry about stabilizing anything. The Smith machine does it for you. The next variation of the squat is a Zercher squat. This is one of my favorites for total leg workout. I mean, this thing is awesome. It's kind of a throwback from the golden era of bodybuilding. Make sure you have a squat pad when you do this, because it's not very comfortable. The bar is going to sit in the crook of your elbows. You can either clasp your hands together or just keep your arms parallel to each other. Feet slightly wider than shoulder width, and really get under the bar here. So this is going to work your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings. Stay nice and tall. Keep your core nice and tight. And again, the Smith machine is going to help because you don't have to worry about stabilizing. Just think about moving the weight with the muscle groups you're trying to focus. And here, I like to put the weight through the heels. So this is going to target a little bit more hamstrings and glutes. Let's move on to some kneeling shoulder press variations. I love doing shoulder press on the Smith machine. It allows a really smooth range of motion, and kneeling is awesome because you can easily control how far away or how close to the bar you can get. Now here I'm doing a very wide grip military press. And when you go wide like that, it really targets your side delts. It's going to target the rear delts also. So it's a bit different than if you were to use dumbbells. And again, you've got the stability of the Smith machine that just allows you to focus on training the muscle group you want to hit. So here I'm scooting up as close as I possibly can to the bar without it whacking me in the face. And in fact, I have to look up to keep it from whacking me in the face. So that's kind of a good guideline. And you're going to lower it to just above your clavicle. Get a little pause mid-rep. I've got 10s on either side. I'm not going heavy. The goal here is to just keep your body tight, keep everything in line, and focus on a pure push with just the shoulders. The next variation is just a standard military press, but with this, I'm going lighter, gonna do a little bit more in terms of reps. And here I'm dropping below parallel with my upper arm. So this is gonna work a lot of those front delts. It's gonna work the side delts too. So again, I'm rather close to the bar. I'm letting it fall to just above the collarbone. And the narrower grip, the longer range of motion, this is gonna help target the front delts just a little bit more. And again, the kneeling motion gives you a little bit more flexibility as far as being able to kind of lean into it on the way up. And I feel like that targets the shoulders a little bit more. And make sure with any pressing motion that you have kind of rotated your shoulder blades back and down so that you're not using your traps. The last shoulder press variation is perhaps my favorite. This is a neutral grip shoulder press. And pay attention to what the bar weighs. On this one, it's 15 pounds. Might not seem like a lot, but for whatever reason, this exercise is very, very difficult. So make sure you're using a neutral grip, wrap your thumbs around the bar, and then you want your lower arm to be perpendicular to the ground when you lower the weight. So that's about how far away you want to be from that. And then you also want your elbow in line with your ear. This variation is awesome. It's amazing for hitting those side delts. It's awesome for hitting the rear delts too. I'm gonna drop my upper arm just below parallel here. And then make sure you get into that lunge position. Make sure the left and the right side are mirror images of each other. So you wanna be sure with any unilateral or single arm exercise that you're pushing or pulling evenly with both sides. And you'll notice I started with that weaker side, my left side, and let that dictate the number of reps I'm gonna do on the right side. So no momentum here, just a pure push, control the range of motion throughout. And this is a great finisher. And it's a lot harder than it looks. I know 15 pounds, I think with the sled, it kind of adds up. So it feels a lot heavier than it actually is. Exercise variations are great, but they need to be practiced with intent. So before you go into each set, really visualize your ideal physique, where you want to go, and Focus with pure intent on each rep. Really stay mindful, especially during those last 2 to 3 reps. When it gets difficult, that's when you make the best changes. And really be aware. Be aware when other muscle groups start to take over and prevent that from happening or stop the actual set. Because there's no point in doing extra reps if you're not training the intended muscle group. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and don't forget to click that little bell. You'll be the first to know whenever a new video comes out. And if you try these exercises and you love them, please tag me on social media. I really love keeping track of your progress and seeing some of these theories put into action. Thanks for watching. Until next time, train hard, y'all.